This is live streaming about learning how React works in the deep. So the idea is instead of just going through the source code of React or similar behaviors, we are going to retro-engineer React and create a clone out of it. This will give us an idea how React could evolve from a simple framework into a complex one, and also what challenges can await us. Now we can imagine that React works in this way. So the first step will be the building step, that is where you get your JSX, and this JSX becomes literal code. So we can see an example of that using the TS Playground. So here, if we write a simple React application, like this one on the left, we can see that here on the right, we obtain a totally different code. So our span element has become a react.create element of type span, and there's multiple other arguments. Here we can see hello, it's the first child, and name is the second one, and exclamation mark is the third one. And here now, if we pass some attribute, like say .id test, we can see that what was null before has now become an object that contains the list of attributes of our element. Okay, so this gives us an idea of what's the signature of React create element. And the next one is React DOM. So now let's also import React DOM. And in this case, yeah, it's not installed, but it's fine. We can see that it goes React DOM.create root, and this one will create a new root on this element. Now this one has various methods. One is render, the other will be unmount, and this one does the same thing. We can see that our hello component has become a React create element hello, and the second parameter is the attributes. Now we can start by creating our own environment. So for this live coding session, I'm going to use Vite. So I'm going to use yarn create Vite, and I'm going to use the React TypeScript template. Yeah, that was faster than expected. And the reason why I'm using the React TypeScript template is to have a starting point. So if you want to clone React, it's a good idea to have a copy of React. Okay, we got our packages, and unfortunately my IDE doesn't really like PNP. It's quite old. It's WebStorm from 2022. So to make it start recognizing the packages a little bit better, I'm going to disable the PNP. And this way I will actually get some node modules. Now we can go into configure the hide for easiness of work. So fortunately it loves using React 18, so we will configure it. I mean, it loves using React 12, but we want to use it React 18. Okay, now let's simplify our app, because we want to start with something simple. So we're going to implement use state in the future, so we can remove it. This is not needed, it's usually added automatically by TypeScript, but maybe in the future we will add it for simplicity. Okay, we don't support fragment for now. We will support it in a future episode. So let's just go for something very simple. Let's remove all the parts that will not be supported. And this is it. It died. Nice. Okay, now that is coming back again. Anyway, as I was saying, we want to remove the parts that we're not going to support in this first version. So at the end of this episode, the idea is to have working code. So this simple project that is coming with Vite, it will run with a clone of React. So going back again, let's decide on our scope. Fortunately, indexing plus live streaming are not good friends. As I can see, the computer is struggling a lot. So we were saying we remove user state. Here also user state is used. So let's remove this button or just comment it out. And this one is not used, we can remove it, and everything else looks fine. Now the main, it's fine, it is going to work. Also this one will be replaced. We can remove the strict mode. And now we have our first code. Okay. Now let's start with see what is the output of React. So I'm going to create a test file for the app. And for this testing, I'm going to use vtest. So npm, yarn add -d because we want to save up the version. And we're going to add vtest and jsdoom. This should be quite fast, so we can start writing our code. So to use vtest, you need to import the methods that you're going to use. Unlike just, they're not automatically available for use. So most likely you're going to use it and expect. Now, let's start with a simple snapshot testing. Should render the app correctly. Okay, for this simple test, we're going to do it slightly different than usual. So instead of having Enzyme or React testing library or on any other testing framework generating the code for us, because that will bypass React, we are going to use React itself to generate HTML for us. So to do that, let's start with creating a root node. So this will be done with a simple document called create element of type div. Now we're going to use React DOM dot. I love when things don't work. Okay, let's just go for the other way. Okay, now we created the root. And now we can do root.render and render the app itself. And finally, we can expect the root root node dot outer HTML to match the line snapshot. Very nice when things don't work, but I can assure this method exists. Okay, now if we run this, it will fail, and this is expected. So let's do that. Let's create a test script. So the test script will be test vtest. Now we will see it running, and it will create a first snapshot, or it will fail. Most likely it fails, so document is not found. And this is because we're not running in the JSDoom environment. To do that, we can change the configuration of Vite, so it will start using JSDoom environment instead of Node environment. That is the default. And unfortunately, I'm not a vtest encyclopedia, so let's go very fast through the vtest. So what I think is most important is to always know how to find stuff around. So let's start with information from the Vitess website. So what we want to do is extend the default Vite config, and this snippet of code, it does exactly that. So we can start by using this. Well, unfortunately, this editor is being very unuseful. Now here in test, we can use the keyword environment and say that we want to use JSDoom. Okay, now let's go back to our test and run it again. Now we can move to the next error, and it's that the editor was right. So, well, this is correct. Okay, what version of Node is the correct one? No. Okay, if he thinks that his name is default, let's try like this. Okay, maybe this user config is not a function? No, it's not. It's already producing a value. Okay, this is not what I was expecting. So this snippet, this doesn't work for our code, so we don't need a config env. Okay, so what our Vite config was producing, it wasn't a function, it was directly the code. Okay, let's move to the next. Now the test pass, so we can see that it created a snapshot, but here we can see that it's empty. Now this is because in React doesn't do anything. I mean, this method, root.render, doesn't work unless you wrap it into an act statement. And now he will complain again, but that's fine. Okay, let's update the snapshot. And now the snapshot has all the code that we expect to it. It's very hard to read, so let's make it nicer. So to make it nicer, we are going to add a serializer. This one is going to take the HTML and just make it look nice. That's all it does. Now to use the serializer, we update the config and say we want snapshot serializers to contain the one that we just installed. Yes, I did miss a piece and got an extra one, but it's fine. Okay, let's run the test again, and we will see that it's going to complain that the snapshot changed and that it's totally wanted. Okay, let's update it. And we also have this warning, but we can get rid of it later. So our code executes correctly. So we can move to the next step, and it's create a fake React. Okay, so let's save it inside of lib for the moment. This is the library, and this is our React. So let's go back to our TypeScript playground and let's see what methods we need. So our React needs to have the method create element. This method, except the first parameter is the type of the element. So let's export it. Export create element, and here we have tag. This is a string. More correctly, it could be anything, but in our case it's a string, or it could be a function. So this can also be a function. So let's use the typings of React, and I will just have a functional component for now for simplicity. In the moment we can move to more correct typings, but for the moment I'll support that. The second parameter, it can be an object, so it's attributes, it's an object, or it's null. Finally, we have a list of children. And these children can be string, string, string. Well, let's start with string, then we will go for some recursion. I'm pretty sure our friend here in app, it's way more complex, and one other one of those could just be the output of this function itself. So for now we go for this one. This is interesting. Hmm. For the comparison. Am I missing the typings? Yes, I'm missing the typings. Okay. Okay, index again. Let's see if it's going to work. We will think about it later. Okay, so the first thing is we're going for the easy way. So the element itself, we can use create element from the DOM and pass the tag itself to it. This will create the right tag. Yes, this is if it's a string. So let's split it in two ways. So let's start with when the case is a string, and then we move to the case when it's our function itself. Okay, now if attributes are not null, so if attributes different than null, then it's an object, and then we can add these attributes to our element. So attributes, no, object dot keys, or because we're using the new JavaScript, just use the new one. So key value, and we can do element dot set attribute key value. Obviously, this is our first start. We're not using any virtual DOM. We're just putting the stuff in the DOM as expected. Now for the children, this could be our string, or let's go for some sophisticated, and this is essentially create element itself. Kind of, but it's the return of create element. Okay, this should work. So let's start adding these children to our element. So children dot for each, and we just do element dot append the child of child. Yes, let's just go for the correct type. And okay, type string is not the type node. But type node should be an HTML element or a string. Okay, let's see what is node. Yeah, my bad. Okay, a string is not assignable. So if type of child is a string, what do we want to do? It's append it as a we want to append it as a text node. So let's create a text node. Wait, the value of child, and then we append the text node. And in the other case, we append the HTML element. Okay, let's see why you're complaining here. It makes no sense at all. Oh god, this lint, it's way late with the code. Okay, now we cover the case when it's a string. Now we have the other case when it's a function. So in this case, we're going to return the tag itself because it's a function, and we're going to pass the attributes. Why are you complaining? It can be I wish I could do it. Meta expression is not a function type. Yes, React function component, it's a function. I believe the typings that is getting are wrong. So attributes could be null. So let's add the case that we want it to be an empty array in the other in case it's null. And finally, children. That it's an array. Okay. This is so annoying, but we're going to make it work. Okay, the first one is done. So let's start copying this test, and actually there's no need to copy the test itself. This is the wrong file. So the test should render the app correctly using the clone. I'm 100% sure it will not work, but that's fine. I believe React is going to pass some weird stuff to it. So let's start by swapping React here. So let's go back to step one. We need a root node because we're going to mount it here. And finally, we want to replace React with our fake React or React clone. Okay, let's import our clone. And assign it. Well, this may work, this may not work. We are going to know only after we do this. Honestly, I don't need this, and but I need to change the global teas. It's weird it's complaining about this. Oh. Okay. God, this editor is so slow. Okay, it's going to stop being red. And now that we swapped the React, let's render the application again. So we are just going to do expect app to match inline snap. It should auto render when you call create element. So that also means that the code is wrong, but because React doesn't auto render when you call create element. So let's see what it's going to do. Oh, yes, obviously it's not going to match. It's going to be. That's interesting. Yep, very useless. Let's try again. Okay, this is slightly better. Let's go one step back. Our create element is actually doing render element, and our typings are totally missing. That it's extremely annoying from this editor. We do have the types. Why you don't load them? Yes, see the React type there. Okay, if the browser is useless, let's make it useful. If the AI is useless, I mean. Okay, so let's go to see what create element does. I mean, the signature. We don't want to see what it does, we just want the signature of it. Okay, type, props children, and it creates a React HTML element. That it extends a lot of stuff. Okay. Yes, it extends DOM element. That extends React element. Okay, let's start by that. Okay, you should return a React element. This is the render part, so skip it. We have type. That is type T. That could be a string or a JS6 element constructor that is essentially a functional component. So very easy. The next one is the props. This is a type P that I'm pretty sure extends. Oh fuck. That I'm pretty sure it does extend object or null. Finally, we have the list of children that it's missing here. Let's go back. Yes, finally children is a type of React node. Well, it's probably more efficient to just use the signature of React, then go deeper in it. Now props, it's exactly like we did it before. Then we can think about this in the render method. But this is way too easy. But let's see what it does. Okay, let's see the test. My bad. One variable missing. Well, when everything is red, but it actually worked so easily. Well, okay. Create element, it's done. It's easier than I expected. So what we need is React DOM. Well, obviously we're going to go a little bit deeper inside of it later, but let's have React DOM. Now here in React DOM we are calling two methods, React DOM create root, that then returns. So root, it's an HTML element, and it returns, for now, just render. We don't care about the other method, that it's unmount. We will do it in another moment. And render receives a React element that we saw before. Yes, React node. Okay, now that we have our node, we can go deeper into it. Okay, so this is essentially the code we wrote before. It was just in the wrong place. Okay, let's start. If node dot, excuse me. God, I hate when the type are missing so much. Okay, we're not going to have any autocomplete at all in this project. I just need to get a new editor that works as a normal editor, I suppose. Okay. Okay, React Node, it can be any of these. It's a lot of them, but let's care about string for now. So if node dot now that is in case the node is literally a string. Okay. Let's do varies of time and start by the most interesting ones. Pretty sure this is an object. This is some sort of array. Portal, we are not using it for sure for now. Okay, case object. Honestly, it's not so many. Okay, case it's an object. If it's null, we do nothing. So let's start with the, okay. Do nothing, okay. Let's go to the next type, React element. This is what we returned in create element a moment ago. This one is the interesting one. So let's use this for the moment to know if it's that type. Then we can check if other type intersects and exclude them. So okay. Now we saw that type can be many things. It can be a string, and in that case we go for what we did a moment ago. So in case it's a string, we created an element Then we pass to the props that we see in our case it's always an object. So here we have children, where we have the rest of the attributes. And let's extract these from our props. Okay. What is missing a piece? Object dot address of attributes. Now I'm confused. Yes, object of address dot for each. Okay, nice, correct. I wrote the wrong code before. Okay. Finally, we have the children, and it could be undefined, so just to be safe. Okay, so going back. If the node is type of null, we don't want to do anything. If it is type React element, we create element in the node, in the DOM. We extract from the props the children and the attributes. We set all the attributes. If the children property actually exists, we go through its children and we append it. Now, things could be more complicated, but let's see what actually happens. And finally, well, it is wrong. If he has children, it should call itself. And we're going to see why that in a second. No, wait, not create root, but render. Something's off. No, that's actually correct. It's not recursive. It's not calling render itself. For a moment I was thinking it was recursive. Okay, let's ignore the other types for now. So here at the end, instead of returning element, we do node dot, not node, root dot append child element. Okay, I believe this covers the basic case, and the other case is the rendering. So, no, we covered it. So this is the string. Let's take the break, let's add it here, and okay. Beautiful, it died again. Okay, my MacBook is definitely not powerful enough for this. But let's finish this off, and for the next episode we'll get a new editor. Clearly WebStorm doesn't work, it just crashes all the time, so it's extremely useless. Just to make things worse, I probably lose my code too. Okay, more savings. This is beautiful. He lost everything. But done once can be done again. Jeez, what the fuck are you doing? Okay, this, as we said again at the beginning, this one takes an HTML element and returns a method called render. This method accepts a node, and this node is of type React node. Now, this node we want to just go for now for the case when it's an object. So if it's an object and if it's null, we do nothing. If it contains the property type, then we want to in case type it's a string, we want for this to imagine if now the editor actually works. That would be amazing. So we were saying, I dropped my code, but most likely it's still here. Yep. So we can use it. Okay, this one gone, uncomment. So we create an element of this type. We press save this time just to be sure. We extract the children from the props together with all the others that are attributes. And we save them. So these are inside node.props. So if attributes is different than null, well, it is, because it's forced to be. We set all the attributes. This code, we saw it before. It's incomplete. It's wrong because I was transforming it, but I was not doing the for each over it. Now, if children is defined, just to be safe, array is array. And we append all the children to the DOM. Why you're complaining here? Okay, doesn't really matter. Oh, that's nice. React node cannot be null. Perfect. Okay, now that we've done the part of the string, let's go to the second part. So if node type is a function, we do what we did before. We call it. So the function is going to output a React node. I believe it's better to check. We're going to console log what is going to return. Yeah, it should return this. A big list of elements. This is not recursive, it will not work. Okay, it's better to do the opposite. That render, it's correct in itself, but incomplete. We're starting with the idea these children could always be that type of node, but they are not. But let's go one step at a time, and we just console log the children. And we do nothing else. Same thing here. So okay, let's just test it. I will definitely go insane with all this lag. This is going to fail very badly, but it's fine. Okay, we want to execute only this test, so we can use et.only. And now instead of that, we can do react doom clone.createRoot. And let's see what the test is going to do. And this thing is doing literally nothing. Okay. Any sign of life? It's interesting. Apparently if you use et.only, it simply doesn't do any tests. Have I misunderstood how Vita works? Let's see if it supports skip at least. It does. Okay, it does only a div. That's at least it's correct. Let's see if there is any console log. Well, that's annoying, there is not. Wait, I don't need this. I don't need the expect at the moment. tracer is going to remove one error and most likely show the console log. Okay, maybe also the act. Let's try to remove the act. I'm 100% sure I put a console log there. You know what, let's just do a console log of the node here. Okay. Type it's up. Yeah, obviously it doesn't work. It's interesting, the props are empty. Duh, I calling just up by itself. Okay. Let's go for the function case. We call the function with the props. Do we have anything else there? For now, we log the result. Okay. The result is a fragment. And the prop of this fragment are a bunch of children. Okay, makes sense. So, in case of a fragment, we will need to handle that. So, okay, stop changing. I don't think I have access to this one, but I can try. Let's assume this one is the fragment. React most likely has other symbols too, but I don't think it's exporting it. Would be very nice to have some autocomplete. Well, technically, well, we have it. We have the symbol. Okay, now what we need to do is make this recursive as I was expecting. So it will always mount on the parent. So this one we can directly go for a render node where the parent is the root and the node is the node. Now we can go back here and we get the output of our function that it's the next node. And now this node, we want to render it again, so it becomes recursive. So the parent is again the same parent. For now, yes. Yes, let's see if it changes. I already see something terrible happening here. This is a recursion without an exit. Or maybe not, it's not. Well, if it crashes, we will know. Well, this should go on the next one. So a fragment is just a bunch of children. Okay, if children, I just want to log them for now, because I'm pretty sure in the next step. Interesting, it didn't go one level deeper. Not like in this. Oh, this type of is not needed. Okay, good. We did go inside the fragment. So here we see all the children in the fragment. Now, this one will go for the first case. So let's just do a children dot for each. Obviously, we are going to improve this because it's honestly terrible code. But for the moment, this will work. So essentially what a React fragment does, it skips the middle parent. Okay, I actually believe it did go up to the end. No, it did not. So this one is missing the part of the children. Render node. The parent is the element, and here is the child. Well, now we can remove the console log. 1, 2, 3. And we can put back the expect. Let's see if it's going to pass. It didn't. Why it's not? Okay, so what we are interested is to append the child that I didn't put anywhere. So obviously it doesn't work. So this should not return. This should append. Yep, that's the only one. Okay, the image is missing. The content of the H1 is missing. Well, yes. Class name is actually class. Why cannot be useful? Random HTML element. Okay. Okay, will you give me autocomplete now? Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, wait. Uppercase. Okay, now we can see that the recursion stops. Here we have this A, and it seems to just do nothing to it. Question is why? Console off. Which one is the one that is missing the image? That has the props, yes. Then it has the children. And for some reason it's ignoring them. Props. Oh! Okay, we have two cases. If it's an array, so it's multiple children, we need to iterate over them. But it can be a single child. Okay, let's see. Okay, one step closer. Now, our age 1 and all the text ones are missing. So that is the case when the children is of type text. So let's cover that case. Else let's see what type it is. Okay, it's not. We're already covering all the types that there are here. So I believe the problem is here. When are you a text? Never. Stupid me. That's when the node itself is a string. Let's just check if this assumption is correct. And it is. So in this case, we create a text node with the node itself, and then we append it. Perfect. Our React clone, it's actually able to work as React with this simple app. So just to be sure, let's check if we are actually calling this. No, we're not. Okay, or React DOM works, but the other one is not called at all. Now the question would be nice to know why. But I suppose I will not be able to force this to change. Well, let's also try to do this. No, it never calls it. This is very annoying. Okay, let's ignore this. Let's do overriding. React is not defined. I was expecting it to be auto-defined. Interesting enough, I cannot force it. Reflect dot set. Yeah, just set. React create element. React clone dot create element. So the idea is reflect dot set. It's a little bit stronger, and it still doesn't work. Well, I believe this will be for the next episode. So let's see what we were able to do here, other than go in circles a lot. So on React DOM, it's actually able to work. So how does it work? Let's go through it. Create root returns the render. This function accepts one single argument, that is where you want to render your application, and it will call our render node, that is a recursive function that renders the nodes. And now, as we saw, the type of the node can be multiples. So it can be an object, and in case of an object, it can be a React element, or it can be other ones that we didn't cover in this test. The second one, it can be a string, and that is the case when you have a text element. So let's have our app open on the side so we can see the cases. Okay, this case it's when it's a string, and in our case it's, for example, this Vite plus React. This is a string that is a children of this age one. Now the age one itself is a React element, that is this one, this case, and more specifically this case, the first one. Now going inside this case, what we do when we find one of these is we create an element in the DOM of the type that we received, so age1. We have in the props, we have children and we have attributes. Children is what's inside, so it can be a single children like this. In case it's a single children, we call render node on that single children. In case it's multiple children, for example, in this div, we have 2 children, 2a. In that case, we go and we call render node for each children. In the future, we will do better code because this can be optimized by using document fragments, but it doesn't matter for now. Now, here we see that there is the attribute class name, and this one is not recognized by HTML as a normal attribute. So there is some attributes, some other attributes, and class name, it's in the list of the ones that you want to assign directly. So in that case, we do element.className equal value. I believe more of these will be, for example, ID and other ones. Second one, it's one is a function. So this app itself is a function. So we just execute it by passing the props. The second parameter will be the ref, but we will go in that in the future. And then we render the node that is returned, that is what it returns. Finally, this one is returning a fragment. The first time we removed it, this time I forgot it, and so we end up supporting it. So in case we see as fragment, you just go through the children and return them. Now, what we didn't check is if this fragment can have a single children, and I'm pretty sure it can. So let's cover that case. We don't need to return anything. Okay, so now we know how the internals of React DOM works, and partially at least we have a general idea. The next step is supporting create element itself. There is a chance that maybe there is no need, because what we really want to do is support this use state, and there is a good chance that there's no need, because this render node will support it. So at the end, seems the majority of the code are actually in React DOM, but we're going to see and discover it very soon. So in the next episode, we will actually make this React clone be swapped, so we can also change create element. From what we saw, most likely this is the correct code, but it's always good to literally see it. And that's all for it.